So we're going to start off at album 490, getting right back to it this week. This album is Linda Ronstadt's Heart Like a Wheel. It was released on November 19th of 1975 on Capitol Records. It's produced by Peter Asher, released in the US of A. Comes in at 31 minutes and 40 seconds. A nice quick hitter. This was nice to get this one under the belt, to kind of go after it. So Aya, what were your first impressions of Linda Ronstadt's Heart Like a Wheel?
Hey, it's Kyle, just jumping in real quick to ask, do you approve this groove? Let us know in the comments. Give us a quick thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and join the conversation.
No, you reminded me that it was so short, that it was 30 something minutes long, and that I appreciated that, having, some of the longer albums, the anthologies that we had going through this week. But I relied really heavily on my rubric for this one because I didn't have much of a connection to this. Like, it was good. And I had to go out of my way to remind myself to appreciate it because it was good. But personally, I didn't feel much for it. Like, it was very well written. I think the songs were arranged well and it was well written. But I think saying that they were well written is an interesting point, because I think aren't a lot of the songs on this covers, if not all of them?
So either covers or written for this album, and this record. Yes.
Right.
I again, excuse my ignorance. I know the name for sure, know some songs, but I thought she was more of a singer-songwriter artist.
Yeah. Like a
So it
Joni
was
Mitchell
interesting.
sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was interesting to check this out. And like you said, not see her name as a writer.
Yeah.
Which doesn't take away from the art, but
Yeah.
yes.
And I mean, like, personally, I didn't know any of these songs, like the original versions of these songs. So to me, they might as well have been original songs. And in that capacity, like, they were, even if they are cover songs, they were interestingly arranged and produced. Like, they sounded good. The performances were good. Like, her voice is awesome. I really enjoyed her voice. And it was pleasing to listen to. I enjoyed the album as a whole, but I didn't, like I said, I didn't really connect to it all that much.
Yeah, so I gave this one a quick once through a couple weeks ago, and then checked it out more fully a couple days ago. I want to say that the tracks that stood out to me were obviously "You're No Good," which leads this album off. "When Will I Be Loved" is another. That's an Everly Brothers song that I think most humans would recognize. And then the last song, "You Can Close Your Eyes," is a James Taylor song, and that one sounds like a James Taylor song, and sounded good to my ear. But yeah, my notes included what we talked about. I didn't know that she didn't write her own songs. On my second, like you, I think my first listen, I kind of just let it go. And once was enough. But I listened to it again, and I was really impressed actually by the track 4, "The Dark End of the Street." I don't know, that one just got me. I was going through Wegmans grocery shopping, and that one stuck with me enough to where it impressed me enough where I was like thinking, this should be the album title. Like, that is, in my mind, was a way better song than the "Heart Like a Wheel" song, which I thought was just quiet and boring and not for me.
Yeah.
I really like that one.
hmm
"Dark End of the Street" was a good one. Um, yeah, I this is another one that, like, I don't have a lot of history with, don't have a connection to, other than she can sing.
Yeah.
Homegirl can sing. So, most songs are going to sound good with her on it. But
Yeah.
um,
And this was
yeah.
the only album of hers that I've ever listened to through. And I know it said this is what, her fourth album, fourth or fifth, something like it.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I didn't catch that in the notes.
It's certainly not her first album, but this is the only one that I know of. And I don't know her back catalog, her older history, but I think from what I understand, she did a lot more in the country music realm earlier on. And it was interesting to hear some of that influence. Like one of the songs, and I can't remember the title of the song off the top of my head, but one of the songs won the Grammy that year for the best country song, performance by a female artist, something like that. And even though I wouldn't call it a country album by any means, but
Sure.
you could hear the country influence just kind of sprinkled in a lot of places throughout the album.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I'm looking at some of the notes right now. This was her first album to hit number one on the Billboard 200. It spent 4 weeks at number one. It says it spent 51 weeks on the album charts. Now that can be influenced by a lot of things, but I mean a year on the charts it's stuck with you.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. She was nominated for 4 Grammys. She won, as you mentioned, Best Country Vocal Performance for the track "I Can't Help It If I'm Still in Love with You,"
Yeah.
which was written by and cover. I think it was a cover written by Hank Williams. So that one was definitely familiar to people, and they liked what she did with it. In the first ranking by Rolling Stone, oh no, sorry, not in the first one. This album ranked 490 in 2020. That's where we're at. Obviously, duh. This was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame, though, which I thought was kind of interesting. Haven't seen that note before. A lot of people on this. A lot of people worked on this album. I mean, this was definitely a session musician's album.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. I'm looking at that. 2 times platinum in the United States, double platinum. So hey, shout out, Linda.
Yeah.
You did it. What'd you rank this thing?
I gave it a 3, which is actually, so I listened to this back in October, which was, 3 or 4 months ago now. And I gave it a 2 when I listened to it back then. And then this week, in preparation for this, I went back and re-listened to it, and I thought, it was better than a 2. So I gave it a 3. Again, heavily relying on that rubric this time around.
Yeah, I gave this one a 3. I thought it was good. I mean, like the big songs speak for themselves. You can't go wrong with those. I'd keep coming back for some of those. I mean, we're gonna hear "You're No Good Forever," and it probably is gonna be that version. That's the one I think of when I hear about it.
Yeah.
Or when I think about it.
For sure.
Yeah. So that was Linda Ronstadt's "Heart Like a Wheel." All right.
Hey, thanks for watching. We'd love to know what you think of this album, so let us know in the comments. Do you approve this groove? And as always, a quick thumbs up helps a lot. Subscribe so you can see all 500 albums, and we'll see you on the next record.